Hello viewers, we are going to discuss about administrative instructions in this lecture today. All of us know that there are various kinds of functions which are performed by the administrative authorities. They are involved in performance of quasi-judicial functions, legislative functions and also administrative functions. So the giving of instructions, instruction making functions or direction given functions fall within the administrative functions of the administrative authorities. As far as the development of administrative law is concerned, the administrative functions have increased because of the increase in the areas of administration and the move or shift from the traditional notion of the state which used to take care only of law and order and of defense, which was also known as the laissez-faire state, to the welfare state. Now, with the expansion of the welfare state concept, more and more functions came within the purview of the government, and more administrative authorities were created. The system of administration had become vigorous. And we all know that there are different kinds of control mechanisms which were supposed to be needed and necessitated to regulate and control the administrative authorities. The administrative authorities could not be left at their own, otherwise it would again be a threat to the conception of rule of law. So, in order to function along with the philosophy of welfare state, plus with the affirmation of the rule of law, with the spirit of affirmation of the rule of law, this is very, very necessary that some kind of control should be present. Out of the two different levels of control, internal control and external control, internal control is considered to be a better one. So this internal control is exercised by means of grant of directions or administrative instructions. The higher administrative authorities used to give administrative instructions or directions to the lower administrative authorities. And these directions are given for the purpose of controlling the administrative power which is being exercised by that administrative body. So thus, it is an internal mechanism to regulate the functioning of administrative bodies. It is offering an internal mechanism to uniformalize the function of administrative bodies, because the same rule can be effected from different angles by different administrative officials. So when the instruction is given, then the same pattern is being followed by the administrative authorities in exercise of the discretion. There is some yardstick, at least there is some channelization given, which is being observed by the administrative bodies. Now these administrative instructions are used or utilized for the purpose of undertaking various functions, which we shall see. Now, as far as the administrative instructions are concerned, as I told you, that the growth and flexibility in the sphere of administration and also a regulation in the spheres of administration is being achieved by the means of administrative directions or administrative instructions. In 1885, the British jurist A.V. Dicey, we all know that he rejected the concept of administrative law, notion of administrative law, and he had altogether refused to consider administrative law as a separate branch of law. The prominent reason which he had in mind is arbitrary exercise of discretion, the probability of the polarization of power in the hands of administrative officials, uncontrolled exercise of power. That would be regulated when the administrative instructions or directions are given by the higher and responsible authorities. Now, even in USA, the administrative law is considered to be a kind of fourth branch of democracy. and administrative law has become a tool to ensure the governance, constitutional governance. There are some authors like Frank Goodnow, like Ernest Freewind. They had written various books on administrative law, and they have recognized a controlled growth of administrative law, where the distribution of powers is appropriately done, where the regulation of administrative functions is appropriately done, where the administrative instructions are followed with discipline. So in this manner, whether it is USA, whether this is UK, or whether it is France, in all these jurisdictions, the administrative instructions developed along with the growth of administrative law. And they had been very useful in implementation of the governmental program and policies. Even in France, where the administrative law or droit administratif is a separate and distinct branch. It is a specific discipline of the civil law, and it is dealing with the administrative authorities, and it is also watching over the relations, how the administrative authorities will deal among themselves and how will they deal among private individuals. So there also the device of administrative instructions is given to direct how one administrative wing will deal with another, how the administrative authorities will deal with the private individuals. Directions are given for that, instructions are given for that, and these instructions and these directions should be constitutional. They can never be against the constitution, they can never be against the statutes. So when it is an instruction given in France, it must be in accordance with the constitution of the republic, it must be in accordance with the statutes of the republic. So whether it is USA, whether it is UK, or whether it is India, the legality of administrative instructions depend upon the constitutionality, depend upon the parent enactments which confer over the administrative bodies the direct or incidental power to give instructions, or sometimes incidental power to give instructions. And that means complete commonality as far as the significance of administrative instructions are concerned, as far as the use of administrative instructions are concerned. In the different areas of administration, the administrative directions or instructions share the same characteristics. So we shall begin with some of the characteristics of administrative instructions and the importance of administrative instructions. So the technique of issuing the administrative instructions is considered to be a very, very important aspect which is integral to the modern administration. Rule-giving power, rule-making power is a legislative power, but administrative instructions are granted under the administrative power. The administrative authorities give instructions in various names, like they can give the instructions through letters, through circulars, through orders, through memoranda. Instructions can be given through pamphlets, through public notices. Also instructions can be given. The press notes can also become a medium or method to give administrative instructions. Sometimes they are published in official gazette, but because they are not law, they are not delegated legislation, it is not compulsory to publish them in official gazette. And why these are given? The administrative instructions are granted for which purpose? So mostly these are those instructions which are made to the public. They are made to inform the people about some policies which are made by the government, about the different plans of actions which are undertaken by the government time to time. These instructions are also to make the members of the public aware of the procedures which are supposed to be followed by administration, so that when the public will come to interact with the administrative authorities, then in that case the public will be knowing that what kind of approach it should follow, whom the public should contact first, which official they should access first. Okay, so this is how they are given to make the people aware. Sometimes administrative instructions are also given to clarify the delegated legislation. We all know that to clarify the provisions of the Parent Act, the rules are given, rules are made to fill in the gap of the statutes. Similarly, to fill in the gap of the rules, sometimes the rules are also not very clear. So, taking care of the local conditions, the administrative authorities give administrative directions or instructions to clarify the rules. So that can happen, that the administrative instruction is made to fill in the gap. Okay. Now, sometimes wide discretionary power is also conferred over the administrative body. Then, in that case, what is meant to be exercised under the power of that discretionary mandate, that is also clarified. The amplitude of the discretionary power which is conferred on the administration is clarified. So such instructions which are to fill in the gaps of the rules, such instructions which are clarifying the rules, such instructions which are clarifying that what is the scope and ambit of the legally conferred discretionary power, these are used for the administration also, useful for the administration also, and they are equally useful for the members of the public also. But yes, we know that because the administrative instructions are not law and they are only made in the administrative capacity, they are definitely inferior to the rules which are made in the exercise of the legislative power. So in this manner, there can be various instructions which can be given to the public. Similarly, there can be various instructions or administrative directions which are given to the officials to direct them how should they work, what are their powers, how should they use their power, how should they exercise their power, how should they act in their dealings with public, how should they interpret the policy. So these instructions thus flow from the general executive power of the administration, and they are helpful for the public as well as for the members of the administration itself, the public authority itself. They can be general, they can be specific. The general administrative instructions, they apply over a large area. The specific administrative instructions apply over a particular conduct, over a particular area. Similarly, they can be directory or they can be mandatory depending upon the situation. And the provisions of the statute which authorizes the administrative body to give instructions, or the parent statute which authorizes an administrative agency to give instructions, it also at the same time clarifies that the instructions would be considered to be binding, or they would only be having a persuasive value, or they would only be having a directory value. So thus generally we interpret that if it is not given, then they are not, instructions are considered to be directory. There are lots of debates regarding the nature of the administrative instructions, whether they are having force of law or not having force of law. So it is clarified that if the administrative instructions are given in exercise of general administrative power, then they are not having any statutory force. And if they are issued in exercise of the legal work, the nature of legal nature, the work of legal nature is being imposed, and by the provision of a statute, it has been directed to the administrative body to issue the instructions, then they are having a force of law. Okay. Although the instructions should not be fluctuative, they should not violate the fundamental rights, and the instructions should not be discriminatory. Okay. They should be taking care of the principles of administrative law. All of these things must be taken care of while framing the instructions, otherwise they will be stuck down. So administrative instructions are very, very versatile. They share very versatile spheres. And as I told you that wide sets of administrative instructions are given by higher authority to lower authority, helping them that how should they exercise their discretionary power. It is considered to be a modern function of the administrative body. It is a specific mechanism by which these specific or general, mandatory or directory administrative instructions are granted or they are given. Now, they, as I told you, they are subordinate to the legislations. That is why they can never override the law. The administrative instructions can never override the law. They are always inferior to the law in the hierarchy. They can never amend the parent statute. They can never amend the rules which are made by the administrative body in exercise of the legislative power. They cannot amend the delegated legislation, we may say. So the general understanding about, we may say that the pure administrative instructions are those which are administrative in nature, and they do not have any force of law, nor they confer any kind of right of the people. Without the backing of the statute, an administrative instruction is not binding. It is not enforceable by the court of law. There was a case, Raman and Raman Limited versus the State of Madras. In that case, it was clarified that the administrative instructions which were not having any statutory backing, they are not binding and they do not have any force of law. However, in certain cases, this approach also got changed, and we shall analyze that how the administrative instructions are interpreted. There are other cases in which the evaluation of the characteristic of administrative instructions or binding nature of administrative instruction is done, like Deluxe Land Organizers versus State. Here the directions were issued by the central government. The statute related is the Urban Land Ceiling and Regulation Act 1976. So under the section 36 of this act, the power was conferred over the central government and directions were issued. So it was held that those directions are binding on the state governments, and the state governments could not issue directions which were inconsistent with the directions of the central government. So here a statutory backing is present. That is the basic characteristics which we can find out that here the statutory backing is present. So we may shortly say that there is definitely certain confusion. There are varied discretions. It is not completely sure, and it is a complicated area to deal with the nature of administrative instructions, because if we consider those administrative instructions which are granted in exercise of general administrative power completely ignorable, then what is the meaning of them? Then it will be a kind of fraud on the public, that any kind of instruction is given and tomorrow the authority is free to change it, suppose without any reason, or it completely retracts back, takes a U-turn. However, the members of the public rely on that instruction and base their conduct on that. So there should not be that kind of fluctuation. So we can conclude that we have not analyzed case by case, since this is the basically the matter of the simple administrative law studies which we have already undertaken. So if we evaluate or if we comment upon and we want to conclude upon the nature of administrative discretions, we may say that from majority of the decisions of it can be concluded that the source of the administrative instruction determines whether it is binding or not. In most of the cases where there is a specific statute and when it is clarified there in the statute and it is given as a power over the administrative authority, that the authority shall give, whether it is a central government or state government, it shall be in a position to give the administrative instructions or directions, and that is a legal power conferred over the administrative body specifically, then in that case it will be a kind of binding instruction which is giving rise to a right to the people. Otherwise, it will be plainly considered as an administrative instruction, and when it is considered as plainly as an administrative instruction, it is in, because executive act, it is an administrative act, it should not be clashing with the fundamental rights, it should not be clashing with any other law, but the government can change it. Reasonable justification can be given to change it according to the requirement. So by on the basis of this discussion, we may say that the administrative directions or administrative instructions are very important device. They make the administration simpler. They act as a guide to the public, how they should react with the administrative authorities, what are their rights. It is explained there through the administrative directions. What are the procedures? Procedures are explained. Substantive and procedural aspects of administrative law are clarified and explained to the public by administrative directions. So it helps the people. Similarly, the administrative directions are given when given by the higher administrative bodies to lower administrative authorities. The purpose of the administrative instruction is to clarify a provision of law, to clarify a rule which is made by the administrative bodies. In such cases, the purpose of administrative instruction is also to uniformalize the works which are assigned to the different public officials, to clarify the policy to the different public officials. The purpose of administrative instructions is also to explain the different steps which are to be followed by the public officials. The purpose of administrative instructions is to guide the administrative authorities how they should exercise their power. The administrative instructions can be general, they can be specific. The administrative instructions are inferior to the rules, and they cannot amend the rules. And the administrative instructions, for their legality, because these are the executive works, they have to follow the other requirements, like they must not be violating the fundamental right or any other law. As far as the creation of rights is concerned, we may say that though we have seen that there is little fluctuation regarding the binding nature of the administrative instructions, we may say that the administrative instructions can be directory, can be mandatory. That will depend upon their language and the source. And the binding nature of administrative discretions depend upon the source. If there is a legal backing, if the law mandates so, then they will be binding. Otherwise, if the law doesn't say so, then these instructions would not be binding. So the instructions which are made in exercise of general power of administration would not be binding, and they would not be creating the rights that can be concluded. Thank you so much for being with me in this lecture. Thanks a lot.